Okay, so we are out at Trail of Tears State Park in Missouri, and we are by the Mississippi River. And along the Mississippi River, if you know where to go, you can find driftwood. One of the cool things about this location is they will tend to plow up driftwood onto the beaches so it doesn't keep going down the river and getting in the way of boats. So when I'm looking for driftwood for craft projects, this is one of the places I go. Now you can find all types of wood out here most of the time because they cut down trees and put them over there, and then you've got your driftwood pieces here. Now a lot of times what I do is I'll do a walkthrough to kind of identify the pieces that I'd like to take, or the pieces I can actually fit in my vehicle, because this is a gorgeous piece of driftwood with a lot of potential carving. That is not going to fit in the car. I wish it would. Over here you have a bunch of smaller ones. Some of them are just, they're way too old. You can look at some of this and tell that it's going to fall apart. Some of it will look like it's going to fall apart, but it's actually more sturdy than you think. So the thing that I like to do when it comes to picking driftwood to test how sturdy it is, I whack it against another piece of wood. If it breaks, if it falls apart, then it's not a good piece. Now, sometimes you'll have one end break off, but the other doesn't. Obviously, this was not a good piece to work with. But that way you're not picking up something you think is interesting, but it's too fragile to do anything with. Now, the problem you've got to remember when working around something like this, especially in forested areas, you have to remember about snakes. There's snakes everywhere, and Missouri is well known for copperheads. So, anytime you're reaching for something, you have to be observant because you never quite know. So, I looked down, I watched where I was putting my hand before I picked it up. And then even after I picked it up, I looked, because a copperhead can be curled up under anything. So we got a driftwood piece, nice and sturdy. One end broke off, but the rest of it is still nice and strong. This is an interesting one because it's got a nice little curve to it. It would make a nice base for like a framework. So this would be a good piece to take. Sometimes we have ideas for exactly what we want to do with something, and sometimes it's just like, this is a super interesting piece of wood. We're going to go ahead and take it. Now, I actually came through about a week and a half ago and picked through a lot of this. So some of the better stuff is gone, obviously. But there are other very interesting pieces that I did not pick up last time. This one has a super soft feel to it, and it would be a little more fragile to work with. But if you like the way it looks and you don't mind working with a soft piece, then this would actually be a good one to work with. It's super light.
If you're going to do a carving with it also, you can lacquer it. So
true. You can definitely lacquer your wood, as my husband said. See, like this is an interesting base to things. And obviously more sturdy than it looks. So you could easily use this as a base for a carving or any other type of display item. So there's a little scoop piece here that I'm thinking about looking at taking if we have enough space. It's basically almost like a sheet of driftwood. We're going to see. So anytime you're walking through these paths, of course, keep an eye on your feet because you never know where a snake is going to be. This is actually a really cool area because it's got this little lagoon. It's a great place for fishing and for photography. As a matter of fact, my husband did a photo shoot here with one of his models who was dressed as a mermaid down on that ledge and then up on the, I guess you'd call it a rock hill. There's some nice, interesting pieces over here. So this is actually pretty cool. It's still got some weight to it. It's got character. This is something you would use in a larger piece. It would make a nice project piece. And I am probably going to grab this one on the way out. I like that. This is another good one. This is interesting. So if it's sturdy, it is not. At which point you have to decide. Do you want to take it because of its looks and use it anyway? Or do you want to leave it behind? This one is interesting. Has a nice, interesting look to it. And is much more sturdy. You have to watch for tangling vines around your feet. And up in places like this is where you really do have to keep an eye out for snakes. And your footing. So when you pick up, always remember to look under what you're working on. So this would be an interesting piece. It would have to dry out some, because you can see where you've got a little bit of mold going on. But it's hefty and it's strong, and it could be a very interesting piece to work with. It's got a little weight to it. This one has interesting coloring. And sometimes, like if you're out here and doing this, what you're doing is you're finding driftwood pieces to sell to other artists. Well, other artists sometimes like the unusual looking things. It looks like it got burnt at some point and then smoothed out. And it's nice and sturdy. So we're going to chuck that over in that pile there. Actually, I'm going to put a couple things in that pile. This is not a section I went through the other day. So while it's got the darker look that could be interesting, I'm not so sure. It feels like it would be flimsy. If I can break it with my hand, it is way too soft. Just because it looks pretty doesn't mean it's perfect for what you're doing. And just because it looks soft doesn't mean it's not hard. So this one right here looks like it would be super soft. But obviously, as you can tell by that whack, it's not. It's a pretty solid little piece. I'd like to do this one. It's a bit on the large side. So I'm not sure about trying to do that one today. We have some other stuff in the trunk right now. That's why I'm kind of focusing on smaller pieces. Now, this right here, really interesting piece. I like the branches coming off of it. It doesn't feel overly soft. I like it the way it is, so I'm not going to whack it, just in case some of those little branches come off. I am going to toss it right there, which all the little branches actually just survived that toss. Not too much longer. There you go. It's another very interesting piece. Something that could make for some interesting large driftwood pieces.
Divining rod.
That's true. It is a lot like an old divining rod. You could also use it as the legs and torso of a piece you're putting together. So we're going to put that there. Okay. My husband is letting me know where we're on our timing. So anyway, when you're looking for natural pieces, along large rivers is a good place to go. Sorry. Along large rivers is a really good place to go to look for driftwood. But for places like this, you do have to remember that they're going to plow the shores to kind of clear driftwood out so it doesn't go downstream and cause problems. Okay, so my first you can see my face video and showing you where to get some natural products for your arts and crafts. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, so we're on our way out right now. We're not actually getting a whole bunch. My very sweet husband is carrying wood out for me. And I'm kind of testing my microphone right now to see if it's going to be better, because I noticed I was getting a lot of inhale sounds. I think I just had it too close to my mouth. So there are a ton more really nice pieces out here. Yes, it should be unlocked. Some very nice pieces out here. Still ready and waiting to be picked up by crafters. And the funny thing is, you don't have a lot of people that come out here to gather the driftwood. So usually when you do come out, unless you've just recently picked through, you have a pretty good choices. Since we have some other stuff in the car right now, I'm leaving behind some stuff that I really would have liked to take with me. But that's okay. As you're looking at the video, see if you can spot some of the pieces I would have wanted. Now, if you are good at doing very large pieces, you really want to get creative on large sculptures. You can get basically tree trunks as long as you've got somebody to help you move them and a pickup truck to put them. Okay, well, there you guys go. This is, I guess you'd say, video 1 of gathering natural art supplies. Thanks for joining us. If you're enjoying my videos, I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and leave a comment, as it helps YouTube put this out there for other people to find. Store link is in the bio. Thank you for joining me.